Hello. Now you're live. Go ahead.
Welcome. This is Monday, January 23rd, the South Russell Council meeting. Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Fiscal officer, will take the roll.
Berger.
Here.
Canton.
Here.
Kavanaugh. Here. Licky.
Here.
Porter.
Here.
Bell.
We have minutes of the January 9th, 2023 regular council meeting. Any changes or corrections in the minutes? We have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Moved by Canton, seconded by Kavanaugh. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes passed. We have minutes of the January 17th special council meeting for stormwater. Any changes or corrections in those?
I have two slight, one correction.
What page?
On first page under visitors, it's Kevin Kiesler. He probably signed his name slappy, but it's Kevin, not Ken.
Okay.
Do you see where it is, the second line
Got
under
it.
visit? Okay. And then page 5, first full paragraph. The only thing I wanted added was that Heidi Baumgart, when she was speaking, said that, is it the first? Yeah. Said that her kids could not swim at Papa because of the E. coli. So anyway, you want to phrase that, Danielle, that she feels she can't allow her kids to swim in the lake. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Do we have a motion to approve the special council meetings as amended?
I'll move.
Second.
Kavanaugh, seconded by Porter. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes have passed.
Abstained, I wasn't there.
Abstained, okay. We have no visitors, so we are at the mayor's report. Couple things. I want to acknowledge the fiscal officer's assistant. That was tough because the mayor didn't ask all those people to give your name and address ahead of time. Luckily, we just usually had one person speaking at a time, but you did a very nice job. Secondly, while we're kudos to the administrative assistant, man came up to me and just said, I want to tell you, I really like the village newsletter because we sometimes wonder what's it doing out there. The fact that we have 20-some people, I don't know if that's because of the newsletter or because we sent a notice out to all the HOA leaders saying, please tell your people to show up. But anyhow, it worked. Okay, the mayor's report. The annual hazmat's coming around. It hasn't changed over the years. We're still paying $3,500 a year in case we ever need it. Basically, everybody on the east side of 271 is in the group. The one interesting thing was about meth labs, and Chief, I meant to check with you. Comment was that meth labs are dying out because it's cheaper just to buy the drugs, instead of trying to make it in your bathroom or whatnot, which was, I don't know, it's just what I was told.
You think that's true, Chief?
I have no idea. That's a good one.
That's good. The second one dealt with the lithium batteries. They're catching fire and they really can't put them out. And it's becoming an issue and that was just mentioned. This group of people were called out 20 times over the last year. So it's a good group. The report will be coming by in a few minutes. Charles Hart is coming up. He should be here this week. Remember, he checks water quantity, not quality. We're in our second year of a 5-year with him, and we recently got the one well we've been monitoring for 22 years. A new homeowner said, sure, we can continue to monitor. The biggest thing about that well is sometimes only 8 feet deep, so it's a big issue, and it's one of the Alderwood wells. Chagrin Fire Department will be here on March the 13th. The Manitowoc tour has been adjusted to the March the 14th. I'm going to miss the 27th. Our 100th birthday is on Sunday, July 23rd. It would be nice if we could do a cake, ice cream, a little birthday type party that night. it would really be nice if somebody from the community, and we think we have a person or two, would step forward and say, hey, let me do that for you, let me put on the birthday party.
Mayor, it's not a February, it was actually July
It was
23rd.
July 23rd, that was the day we were incorporated,
Okay,
yeah.
so we functioned, oh,
Yeah, I don't know, yeah, because the first mayor didn't seem to come until 24, so.
okay,
Anyhow, I did see that that's when you got incorporated.
all right.
A call from the prosecutor Friday morning. He just wanted to give us a heads up that David Joyce just secured $2 million for additional paving. And they sometimes like to steer that to the villages, which would be Chardon, South Russell, Middlefield, and Burton. So that could be a nice thing for us. The other news is Chagrin Paving is going to be doing, is going to be doing Chillicothe, and they've gotten the contract, and October 15th, they have a completion date, so we will have the culverts in before then. The Masonic Temple guys, we met, there's a stick in the ground on the East Washington side. It's, they'll do everything except to do anything solar-wise, so we're pretty much good to go. So we're going to talk to the park committee whenever they have a meeting. And then, if, they were ready to give us a check on the spot. And we said, no, we're moving on.
Thank you for pursuing that, Mayor.
It's worked out. If you look on the second page, the regularly scheduled meetings, public utilities, Mr. Berger, you want to explain that to us again? We're on the first Friday of every month except for
September 8th.
And then the finance days are there, and we're going to take a look when we get near November. That's the Friday after Thanksgiving. As for everything else, the owner stormwater, I'll just hold off till the public utilities goes through that. There is a lot there. That's it for the mayor's report. Questions of the mayor? Mr. Lofton, the floor is yours.
I just have a quick question. So in your report, you put the new rate is 65.5 cents, which is the current IRS rate. What is that $75 if someone wants to buy someone a gift?
This is, frankly, this is NOPEX. That's their limit now on what they can do. I can't accept or do for their, because I always remember when we would go see Susan from the ethics, she'd always said, somebody wants you to buy bonds, yes. But don't, they shouldn't buy you Morton's. But
Right.
I was surprised that, $75, that's a heck of a meal if somebody.
Yeah, well, I don't think, the Ethics Commission, they don't put a dollar limit on it, so I wouldn't be comfortable just start spending $75 a meal or a gift because we don't do that. So I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah,
This
that's just this one group. I was surprised it's up to 65.5 cents.
I know, I am too. Inflation, I guess. This afternoon, I sent out an email. I don't know if you saw it. So there are some expenses we have for projects that didn't get wrapped up in 22 and they're not budgeted for in 23. So we have to carry over or encumber some money, which we usually don't do. So we'll be in the finance committee. They'll be looking for a motion to approve a couple of POs to encumber from 22 to 23. And then additionally, there are some expenses for the culvert project on 306, which wasn't budgeted in 23, but yet we have bills. So we'll have to amend the appropriations and do a transfer for that. And then finally, a motion to approve a PO for that project so we can get that all paid and taken care of. So, and then secondly, I did kind of want to just do a quick review of 22. Last year, our original gross budget for income tax was 1.6 million. We did amend the budget partway through the year at 2.1 million, and our actual, and this is at gross, was 2.5 million. From the net perspective, we brought in an additional 516,000 from what we had brought in the year prior. However, our January 1st balances were almost 3.6 million, and we ended the year at just over 3 million. So our balance for the year, even though we brought in an additional 500,000, we did have a deficit. Balances went down 544,000. Then cemetery fees and plots were up, but that's something we can't really budget because we don't know. It was a busy year. Court fines were up from where we budgeted, well over what we budgeted. However, that really doesn't have an impact to us anymore because now the county, everything we get in court fines, we have to pay them back the following year. So it ends up being a net zero.
Excuse me, on the court fines, are they from the gentleman across the street?
These are court, like we get court fines from when the police send cases up to court and then there's fines. We used to get that money and keep it, but now the court,
It's actually the city of Chardon takes it
they take it back at the end
because
of the
the
year.
court is housed in Chardon. So they take it for
So for,
expenses.
They could have shared.
so for our fees from the 1237 Bell Road, when we were in court 3 different times, that just came out of our pocket for cleaning up the yard.
If there were any fines associated with it, we would collect them but we would have to pay them back to the city of Chardon next year. So
So this is new?
It used to be we kept them, and when Jim Flays was on council, they were trying to take the money, and we went there and we had a big meeting with everybody in the county, and Jim did really good fighting it, and we didn't have to pay it for many years. But now, this is the second year in 22 that we had to pay it back. It's all figured out on a calculation how much we owe, but it usually ends up being our costs were more than we received in fines. So therefore we give all our money back. They're not allowed to charge us more than we took in. But so the last 2 years we had to pay everything back. So it ends up being a net zero.
If they're ready for that.
It's the Ohio Revised Code. Yeah, I can send it to you.
Local government funds, we brought in a little bit more than we had budgeted, but those are numbers we get from the counties that we are required to use. And on the expense side, from the state highway fund, we didn't spend near what we thought because the culvert project and the traffic light project were not complete. And the special road fund, we did pay off Bell Road West, so that project is done. So that's what I had in terms of finances, and I'll be working to get the year-end balances certified with the county, and then once that's done at the next council meetings where I expect to be making amendments for things you guys wanted in the budget that didn't make it in the first swipe, so we'll work on that.
Questions of the fiscal officer? Just kind of let everybody know, on March the 13th, when the ambulance presentation, the ambulance fees, a lot of that is going to be an educational thing for us and for the people from the fire department. They've had new people come in, so it may take some time as they work through trying to explain this whole process. Okay, thank you. We're at the Finance Committee.
Thank you, Mayor. First step is I would like to make a motion to approve the December 31st, 2022 financial statements as presented by the fiscal officer.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
Thank you. Okay, and I will turn to the fiscal officer. What do you need from us in terms of a motion?
I need a motion to approve the following POs for the Central Retention Pond, a blanket PO in the amount of $30,356.84, and for the Manor Brook Project, a blanket PO in the amount of $12,232.88, and Mr. Excavator PO in the amount of $9,774.54.
Let me ask, do any of those motions, are they part of the Manor Brook 319 grant?
The Manor Brook Project.
The Manor Brook project, okay? So I'll defer to Councilman Galicki to make the motion.
Thank you, Chair. I will like to make a motion to approve the following 2022 POs for the Central Retention Pond, a blanket PO in the amount of $356.84. For the Manor Brook project, a blanket PO in the amount of $12,232.88, and a Mr. Excavator PO in the amount of $9,774.54. So moved.
Should we vote on these separately since we're going to have people abstain?
Well, I can second it. And then Chris can recuse,
Okay,
and Jerry can recuse if they want. Seconded, by the way, Daniel.
Okay.
okay, the central retention basin, all those in favor say aye.
Well, this is for both because we only need 4 to pass it, so we can do it all this
They
way.
can do it, they can do it without us, it's fine.
Okay, Berger,
Abstain.
Canton,
Abstain.
Galicki,
Aye.
Kavanaugh,
Aye.
Porter,
Aye.
Belt.
Aye.
Move to adopt. Oh,
No, it's just a motion.
We're good here on the motion. Okay,
Okay.
now we're down to the Manor project.
We did both of those.
We did both of them. I'll catch up. Culvert, all right. Ignore me.
Okay. The Finance Committee will meet this Friday at 9 o'clock for their first meeting. So pending any comments from Councilman Galicki, that concludes the report.
Chris, did you want to make the motion to approve the blanket PO for the culvert project?
Do you want to do that now? I can do it. It's,
It's up to you.
no, we'll do it right now. Okay, so, make a motion to approve an ordinance, transferring $50,000 from the income tax fund to the culvert.
This,
Chris,
He's doing the
it's just a
motion.
motion.
Just a
Sorry,
moment.
I'm screwed
you
up
have to
here.
find the
Okay.
most recent
It's the
agenda.
3rd bullet point on the.
Why am I on the wrong agenda?
This one.
There was one on the desk.
Yeah, okay, sorry, okay. Motion to approve a 2023 blanket PO in the amount of $50,000 for culvert project expenses.
Moved by Berger, seconded
Second.
by Galicki. Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passed. Okay.
All right,
Does that conclude?
that concludes the finance report.
All right, solicitor, floor is yours.
I just have a couple of questions. Mayor, on your mayor's report,
Yes.
the 100th birthday on July 23rd, has
Yes.
council picked that day as a day for the party?
No.
Okay. I think that's something that, I don't know if the Parks Committee is then going to recommend that to council at some point.
We probably should get a little formalized before we do that, okay?
Okay. And then I did provide, and I think I gave it to Danielle, and I know Danielle put it in the council packets, the updated guide for elected officials, just regarding a lot of the sunshine law. There's conflict of interest in there as well. There's the attorney-client privilege. Just does anyone have any questions? I know you wanted me to kind of go over some of the notable changes, but it might be easier if anyone just has questions. Or
Okay.
I could go
All
over
right.
some of them.
What I guess I'd like to do is probably have the next couple of meetings, just 5-10 minutes on a particular
Sure.
subject. I would tell you ahead of time.
Okay,
Just so you know, I guess I'm looking at a little more of a presentation saying, hey,
okay,
this is what this means. Here's where you're going to get in trouble.
sure.
Okay, something like that.
Sure.
It's pretty much in there already, but
Right.
a refresher.
One of the things that changed, not that it's a big deal, but the village used to keep a database of all of the elected officials and their addresses. That is now no longer. We do not keep the addresses, it's just the names, if I'm not mistaken. So that is a change. So things like that. Like this is kind of an ever evolving, quite frankly, law. The Public Records and Open Meetings Act, especially because there's so much information, and case law is kind of forming sort of now where things are going. So that's kind of some of the changes.
What about employees?
Yeah, same with employees. if I'm
No
not mistaken.
addresses.
Correct, right. I'm sorry, you're right. It was elected officials and public employees, the database. Used to have their name and their address. No longer do we have the address, it's just the name.
We just redid the homeowners association leaders. That is a public record, correct? Is it?
You mean for here? We did it here village-wise as to, okay, yeah, absolutely. Anything that we create,
Okay, so I let them all know.
And I think the purpose, right, is so that, they use the village hall space, right? Usually we kind of want to know who's who.
Well,
I mean,
like before the stormwater meeting, we sent
Sure.
out to all the homeowners association leaders, this meeting's coming up,
Sure.
and, spread the word.
Right. that is, I mean, I would
So
think
it
that's
is
a
a
public
public
record if we've created it. Sure.
So the changes in the law don't change the fact of, once you write something, it becomes a record. It's just the requirement now that we don't have to have the addresses with, we used to be required to keep a list of all employees with their name
Right.
and address. So now that's not a requirement, but we have in our possession is a public record until it meets the records retention schedule to dispose of.
Correct.
So the HOA list is a public record. It's not something we disperse, but if somebody does request it, then we have to give it.
That's what I told them. It's like,
Right.
sorry, but this is a, don't pass this around, but it is a public record. All right, I'll get in touch with you if we
Okay.
can space out some things.
That's fine. And then the last thing was, I think I saw that, yeah, I am requesting executive session regarding pending or imminent litigation and or the sale of property.
Okay.
Possible.
Questions of our solicitor? Engineer doesn't come, street committee.
Sure, the street committee met on January 12th. The minutes have been submitted for your review. One thing of note for those out in YouTube land is that Geauga County Water Resources, they'll be installing this spring 13 to 15 flow meters in the Mannerbrook-Alderwood area to try to diagnose how stormwater is getting into the sanitary sewer in that area. I think that'll be a large benefit for the residents in that area. Another of note is, I believe we are ready to move forward with the purchase order for the loader. If you recall from past meetings, we received bids for 3 different loaders, a John Deere, a Komatsu, and a Caterpillar. The Komatsu was the middle bid, but between the committee and the service department, we felt that was the best route to go as far as parts availability and product reliability.
We can't do the PO until the budget is amended at the next meeting. Can we hold it off to then?
Absolutely.
And what was the total? Do you have?
$127,686.
Can't we amend that tonight, Daniel?
I wasn't prepared to, but,
We'd like to move on that because the quote was given last year, and in order to buy it at the lower price, we need to issue the PO for that. So if possible, I'd like to amend the budget for that purpose.
so we can add it on to the one we're currently doing for the culverts.
Yeah. That way, the street department can go ahead with the purchase order, and they'll be delivered at least a month sooner.
6
Under
months.
the old price.
127,686.
And Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the new price is like 20 grand more.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, I just have a question. So you had the 120 was like the middle of the road kind of bid. There was one lower and one higher.
Yes.
Is that right? Okay.
Yes.
And the lower one, you guys did not, you found that was just not the most responsive bidder as far as parts and things like that?
Parts and user feedback from other municipalities who have purchased the same machine.
And is it at state bid?
Great question.
If it's not state bid, we have, it's over 50,000, so we need to go up to bid.
Do you know
I
if it's
recall it
state
being state bid.
bid? I do not know.
We can confirm that.
Can we confirm that with Tim?
Put a motion pending.
Can you remind me of the model again? I'm sorry, it was for, or I'm sorry, who was the bidder? I apologize.
Komatsu.
I mean, did we go out for a bid or no? We didn't because we think it's state bid.
Yes, you got 3 quotes.
Right.
But that's different than a sealed bid.
Oh, it is,
Yeah.
very much so.
We can amend the budget, but not issue a PO until I have verification that it's state bid.
Correct.
And what we can do is we can make that part of the motion
Right, on condition that.
on condition that.
So then on condition that lets you go ahead and you just have to fulfill that ASAP.
Before the PO can be cut.
Okay.
And if it's not state bid, then we have to bid it out.
Correct. Which will be a little bit more time.
So Danielle, while we're doing this, where are we transferring money from?
Income tax fund to the special equipment fund.
Special equipment, okay.
And it's gonna have to be transferred an hour later, so we can do that part of it. I just can't issue the PO until
Right,
we
well,
verify.
we can do the ordinance part for the funds,
Right,
and then streets can make the motion to accept that quote pending approval that it's at state.
Right. So you'll amend it, where we amend the appropriations, you'll also, you're gonna increase income tax transfers, that 127,000 as well, and then,
Okay, I've got that. All right. I think.
Thanks, Daniel.
Street committee, still your report. Anything else?
So should I make the motion now or later?
I think you can do it now.
Motion to approve the mayor and fiscal officer permission to create a purchase order for a new Komatsu loader in the amount of $127,686. Upon verification, it satisfies the state bid.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
and can I just ask moving forward, when we're gonna do this, if somebody lets me know before the meeting, so we can make sure we have everything in order properly and the legislation written?
That would have allowed us to verify the state bid part too beforehand. Yes, I will. We
Thank
will,
you.
yes. Okay. Do you want to talk about the culvert bids, Chris? Or going out for, I should
Sure, we
say?
should be going out to the culverts on Chillicothe Road by the end of this month. That's what the engineer reported at our last meeting. And I believe the state said they're going to be paving in October. Was that it, Mayor?
No, the deadline is October.
Deadline for bids is October.
Yeah, I called Chagrin Valley Paving and said, what's on your schedule? They have not responded back.
Okay.
The worst thing they could say is, we're gonna pave in April.
I noticed they were doing East Washington as well.
I don't know if they're doing East Washington.
If they are, that'd be a good time to dovetail with them.
I don't know. If it's, that could be two different contracts.
Could be,
Could be the
Sure.
state. I don't know who got that one.
okay.
Our next meeting will be Friday, February 3rd at 7:30 a.m. in the Service Department office. Pending any comments from Councilman Porter.
That's it, I think you covered it.
Okay, I do have a question. At the hazmat meeting, the one gentleman said, we just went out on Sourcewell and bought a $600,000 piece of equipment. And it's like, okay, that's the minimum. Are they just guaranteed minimum bid? He said, we didn't do any bidding or anything. We just
Cause that's,
bought
Are
it.
they on,
They bought a fire truck. I'm
are
sorry.
they participating in the co-op like we have said we
Yeah,
participate?
they're members of, this
Right.
was, I think, it was a local community. They said, we just bought a $600,000 fire truck. We bought through Sourcewell, didn't do any bidding. We
That's
just,
exactly right. That's what we would do, right? That's why with the restroom, for instance, we're going through Sourcewell. We do not have to bid that out.
because they've already done the bidding and those prices that they're offering are at the state bid.
looking backwards now, should we have bought a loader through Sourcewell? I don't even know
If
if
they
they sell.
have it, if they have it. But no, I mean, it's either through co-op, state bid, or we go competitively bid.
I mean,
It's
it
one of
just
those three options.
seems so efficient.
State bid is also very efficient.
Right, oh, yeah, for sure.
It's like when we do salt,
Correct.
Yes.
same idea.
Exactly.
Okay, we were at the building committee.
The next building committee meeting is Thursday, February 2nd at 8 a.m. Pending any comments from Councilman.
Okay, chief, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I distributed a year-end report to everybody today. Hope you find it entertaining. Also, I have a question regarding the traffic light. I understand we got an extension through September for the grant. However, when I was initially putting the project together, there was an 12-month lead on the poles that the mast arms are attached to. I don't know that we're going to be able to meet the criteria of September with this project if we still haven't even broken ground yet. And I know that person that what was the entity that's giving us the grant?
Yeah, that's a great question. It wasn't public work.
Yeah, they weren't real thrilled about giving us this extension in the first place.
No, they
I
weren't.
have a concern that we may not make this deadline.
Have you raised that with the engineer?
I have not spoken to the engineer, so I think we need to look at that because I think we're gonna be really cutting it close. We haven't broken ground yet, and they're talking 8 to 12 months for poles.
Okay.
So I don't know if we're gonna make that deadline.
Didn't Perrin they asked, isn't that what sparked that whole conversation? They were asking because they wanted to order this stuff?
Yeah,
Do you know if they
they
ordered?
were waiting, and I don't know, that was turned over to Brian, so Brian started working with the company that won the bid. I don't know where we're at. I haven't had an update. Nothing's come via email for over a month now.
Okay.
So we may need to do some follow-up on it. If you'd like me to take that one, I'll certainly look into it myself unless somebody else wants to do it. It's up to you.
And that was Ohio Public Works.
Let's,
Yeah.
let's talk tomorrow morning.
Okay,
Okay.
will do. That's all I have. Thank you.
I have a question
Sure.
on your report, and where did it go? What is UAS call-out?
That's the drone team,
Okay,
unmanned aerial systems,
just say drone.
just drone.
Okay.
UAS is way cooler than unofficial.
It's always the acronyms, you know.
Right, there are a few of them in there.
Information report, that's like something sketchy and you need to find
It's
out.
very general. If we can't classify it in any of the other categories, it's just
okay.
one of those catch-alls.
All right. I love your statistics. I like looking at this, comparing the years.
Thank you.
Just over the next 2 weeks, everybody will read over this, so we'll probably have questions at the next council meeting.
Absolutely.
All right, Safety Committee, it's yours.
Thank you, Mayor. Safety will meet February 2nd at 9 a.m. at the police station. Last week, I took the liberty of speaking with our Chagrin Valley Fire Chief, Zugan, about the modification of the building. And they have started, but they're having some supply chain challenges, but he sees that being cleared and should be full speed ahead by March of this year. Councilman Galecki, anything to add?
Nothing further.
We might want to mention, did we already know at the last meeting that the former police chief Latimer passed away?
Oh, no, I didn't
Oh,
know that.
really?
Yeah,
I grew up with a son.
it was, yeah, you did. I think a week ago past Thursday in Florida.
They're having no services, but they may come up here to do a service locally here. Haven't heard back yet.
Good, please let us know. As I said, he was my next door neighbor.
Will do.
Okay, anything else, Safety Committee?
No, sir.
All right, HR Committee.
HR, we met on January 12th. You have a report in front of you. Does anybody have any questions? And the only update I have is that Danielle found out either Friday or today that Deb Ladke, that we offered the very part-time PRN position to, accepted. And she just has to go through the drug screening and that sort of thing. Is that correct, Danielle?
Yes.
Okay. The other one that needs to be mentioned is that we all have to do that NIMS training, or if we have a tornado or something come through, FEMA can turn us down if we are not ready to go, if everybody hasn't completed that NIMS training. So get on it.
That's once every 4 years, correct? For elected officials?
Ooh,
I think it's permanent. Leslie put together a spreadsheet that'll be in the next council packet that will kind of explain what it is each person has to have.
Any questions? HR? Next meeting won't be till the first week in March, whatever the first Thursday in March.
I had asked the Juneteenth be on your next agenda, okay, as a
Okay,
federal holiday. Okay, so we'll do that at your March committee meeting, and you can report back to us.
all right.
All right, thank you. All right, Properties Committee.
I didn't ask Mr. Berger if he has more to add on.
I'm good,
Okay.
thank you.
Properties, we met on January 5th. It was Jerry's third meeting in a row. He was getting shot born, and it was a hard morning for him. We went through a lot of stuff, and I hope everybody read it. I haven't done some of the things I'm supposed to do on here, so I can't really complain. I have spoken with Robin Schwind, who does the Evergreen Hill cemetery tour, which is easy to do because you're on the flat and you could do a drive-through, which of course we don't have that opportunity. One of his suggestions was people could dress up as the oldies, like the people that are in our progenitors, our South Russell progenitors who are in the cemetery, and could carry a picture of the gravestone if there's one there, and they could do it at the pavilion. I thought that's a pretty good idea, because if there's people that aren't mobile, or we can get them in to sit. So we're gonna think about that. One other thing came up, let's see, that I added. I spoke with Tim today, and he received the 3 benches that we ordered. They were the wrong color. I think he might have already told us that. He went to return them and to get the correct, it was about the frame color. And they said, keep them, keep the ones we sent. And they are going to send the frames for 3 of the color that we wanted. So we're getting 6 for the price of 3. We also, I met with Joan Demersion last week. We went over quite a bit of stuff, quite a bit of history stuff. And then she followed up with a long phone call on Friday. So I'm hoping we're going to be in the paper soon. That oldest picture that we have of the church people standing in front of the village hall before it was remodeled, it doesn't translate well. It's blurry to begin with, so I don't know if we'll be able to use that, and it's not the biggest deal. She said, well, what could you use instead of it? And I did send, Nancy Gallagher had saved for me pictures of when the hall was moved back, which some say was in 75, 76, and 78, and this is why you gotta write things down. Doesn't really matter, but dates get lost in people's minds. So that's where we are. Questions for property, and Jerry Cantley, do you want to add anything to that?
Nothing to add, but thank you.
And here's the other one, time capsule. I didn't remember it. Daryl didn't remember it. Daryl was upset, came over to the house and said, Daryl, I don't remember. I just talked to people. I don't remember a time capsule at all. I should have called Nancy Gallagher. She might know. All right. So if anybody's digging out there, and they strike something hard, let me know. Thank you.
Questions of the Public Utilities Committee? Oh, I'm sorry. Questions of the Properties Committee? Hearing none, we're at Public Utilities.
Thank you, Mayor. Public Utilities met last Friday, January 20th at 8 a.m. You do not yet have meeting minutes from that. It was an extensive meeting. Many of the conversations that took place were relative to the list of issues that the mayor included from the January 17th stormwater meeting and trying to get organized. I will make the one comment that Councilman Porter has agreed to continue to be the representative to the ESID program for Geauga County for this year, and I thank him for that. The next Public Utilities meeting will be on February 3rd at 9 a.m. And go ahead, Councilman Porter.
One of the things we discussed at the Public Utilities meeting was the possibility of adding some more screening for the Manor 319 project. And the idea came up that we could plant 3 trees, 6 to 8 feet, in what I'll call the notch of the easement on the southwest, within the easement on the South Russell side. The cost would be about $400 to $500, and it would assist greatly in screening, at least as they grow in. One of the 2 residents that was quite concerned about screening at the stormwater meeting. Wasn't,
Seminar.
that's it, seminar. So I bring that to council and for any input that council might have on whether it thinks it's a good idea or not. Plus, I don't know that this needs to go back to planning commission, Friday. if council decides to do it on its own within the easement.
Okay, well, sorry, which part? Like, I think what planning commission did was recommend, this is how they're gonna approve it, and I think council has to approve the funding for that recommendation for that plan.
Right, planning
Right, but then
commission
the-
approved CT's plan for landscaping,
Correct.
which is the 15 trees.
Yep.
Closer to the gas station than what I'm talking about.
Correct.
So that part of the project's approved. This is an add-on.
Right, but I still think council has to, because we're the funds, right? We're the purse.
Right.
Regardless of what planning commission says, we still have to approve the funds for that. So that first piece, I think we should probably do as council.
Okay,
But the second piece, the add-on, would be something in addition to what I guess planning has recommended. I don't know if it has to go back to planning. If you were to overrule what planning was doing, it would take obviously a supermajority. In other words, if council here said, no, we don't think that's a good plan, let's go back, it would take 5 out of 6 members of council to overrule that. But I think this is an add-on. I don't know if this is like a modification of the plan.
I would say it's a modification because we're not, Public Utilities is not recommending disapproval of
Right.
planning commission's recommendation to us for the screening.
Okay,
We're adding more of our own volition.
okay.
So I don't think it needs to go back to planning commission
You're right.
to consider that. Council can approve the recommendation from plan. Does everybody know what I'm talking about?
Mhm.
Okay, I just want to make sure. It seemed like a one-way
No,
conversation would be a Friday.
There was a cost estimate, right, of the total of 15 trees, and it was it was over $16,000, less than 17,000.
Correct.
We need to probably discuss that as far as approving it. And then as far as the add-on, you're correct. Planning commission actually even said, hey, listen, this is nothing planning commission has any say-so over, because they're saying it's outside of the easement.
Well, that was the first thought of planning commission, but this is inside the easement.
So,
And the mayor can indicate, I think, yeah, right there. There's about 50 feet from side to side in that notch, and 3 trees will go there nicely, 15 feet apart, 6 to 8 feet tall. And the resident who would be who's most affected would be, what's his name, Seminole?
Seminole.
Thank you. So it would be Public Utilities recommendation, the planning committee's recommendation be approved by council and funding to be consistent with the $17,000 plus 3 additional trees in that notch area.
and I apologize, at your meeting, there was an engineer there, correct, saying that this was okay to do?
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Mhm.
And Mark, you indicated $400. You're talking for 3 trees?
3.
I don't think you're gonna buy an 8-foot tree for 3 8-foot trees for $400.
No,
These are small.
each. It's like $1,200.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
total cost.
max.
But these are still, what, 2.5 inch, 3 inch caliber. Yeah, these,
And they would not be planted, any of these trees, until spring. So what we're doing is we're approving what planning commission has modified, is recommending in public utilities. And going forward, appropriating money and amending the budget to do this. And the street street department would do the planting of the 3 additional trees I'm talking about.
And it's inside the easement that we have with Whitetail, correct?
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah, I have that's the diagram. I'll pass it around. Where it's circled in blue, the white line is the easement. This is the South Russell side of the easement. It'd be right along the edge of that notch. I'll pass that around there.
Northwest?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, northwest.
so, and I just want to make sure, was Brian or Eric or Rich, they're okay with this discussion from Public Utilities? I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Because there was discussion at one point, certain things inside the easement and how it could actually affect the stream restoration project.
He was talking about closer to 306.
Yes.
This is way back.
Okay.
Yeah, let's, can you guys hand this over to Bridie? And Danielle,
Did the engineer recommend these trees?
he did not, he came from the resident
Okay.
to the committee.
And we've run it by the engineer, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So on this thing from, CT for those trees, 8-foot trees, they're $750 each. So is that what, so you're saying the $1,625, just so I know, and then 3 trees at the $750 each on top of that?
Let's go with their higher number, if
Okay.
it's less, that's better.
Thank you.
To,
And it's on Manor Whitetail's property, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Our
because it
easement-
looks like it's right on the edge of their property as well. I just want to make sure that we have agreement from them.
The resident would like us to plant it about 3 inches into the South Russell side of the easement.
Okay. Okay.
probably more than anything, this buys us peace and support.
Peace.
Peace.
Oh, and, you know, you drive by and you look down that where the culvert is, and it's like you're looking down an alley, you know, and this will help break it up.
To refresh everybody's memory, just in case, I have a Chillicothe. We wanted to put, we thought we did not want to put trees right here, which would block the view of what we took out. So that's why we're putting 15 trees at about $16,000 down here. This has always been open. This is that high mound. So this has been open, but to make peace, we blocked this off. And this gentleman over here, eventually those trees are gonna help them. The issue that Councilman Canton and I have talked about, I think we've all talked about, is this whole mound along here, which belongs to what, these are all those trees that are starting to go. When we walked up there, you could see they're rotting. Whitetail needs to spend some money along this. In fact, my concern is in a few years, these 15, they're gonna go great. They're gonna look terrific. They're gonna grow to be 40 to 50 feet tall. It's gonna look so nice, and this is gonna look so bad. So talk to the people, the whitetail master, saying, just be prepared, or, maybe you wanna do something there. The other thing which Tim did is we have to keep this open. This is a sewer line that runs right through here. That's why that has to stay open, this gap. There may be something eventually that we can squeeze it in a little bit, but it's still, you gotta have 60 feet to let people get
I mean, you
out.
could probably get a tree on either side,
But that's about it.
maybe.
That'd be on the side of the thing that probably would die anyway, you're right.
Well, and it might, depending on what kind of tree it is, it might reach into the pipe. Yeah. At the western edge, at the notch, we're not gonna have that problem.
All right, we're still on public utilities.
Do we want to make a motion about planning commission's recommendation as amended? Sure. I'd like to move that planning committee's recommendation with regard to the landscaping plan produced by CT Consultants in connection with the Manor Brook 319 project be approved but amended with the addition of 3 trees, 6 to 8 feet. They say 750, Danielle?
Mm-hmm.
So what's that?
2250.
$2,250 in the furthest west extremity, but within the South Russell easement at the north side of the project. So moved.
Second.
Discussion, that's all staked out, so it should not be an issue as to where the trees should go.
And then the trees we originally talked about, I know there was some concern from the resident who lives right across the pond, for lack of a better description. Are his concerns satisfied or not? Or are they just unrealistic?
I think they're satisfied. I guess I've gotten to the point I don't care anymore. I mean, 15 trees at $17,000 so that they don't see the traffic, which you can see anyway in the wintertime.
I don't know that the resident will consider this the wall of green that he talked about. But I think from the vantage point of 306 driving by, it'll very much look like a wall of green.
It's screening while we wait for the other trees to mature.
All those, okay, any other discussion? All those in
Roll
favor?
call, please.
Roll call.
Berger,
Abstain.
Canton,
Abstain.
Kavanaugh,
Aye.
Galicki,
Aye.
Porter,
Aye.
Bell.
Anything else in public utilities?
Not at this point.
Okay, now, we are ordinance and resolutions, and this is gonna take some time, so we'll go slow. Whenever you're ready.
Okay, so fiscal officer, I'm going to amend this first one to include the funding for the loader.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're going to introduce and consider for adoption an ordinance amending the 2023 annual appropriations, increasing the culvert fund expenses $50,000 and income tax transfers $50,000.
Well, income tax transfers will be the 50 plus the 100. So
Well, and then we are going to additionally do increasing the special equipment fund by $127,686 and the income tax transfer fund as well by that $127,686 and declaring an emergency.
Move to waive reading.
Moved away further readings.
Roll call.
Are we subjecting the movement of the money to the condition of it being stupid, or are we not?
No, we
Okay.
can move the money, but we won't, no.
Thank you, sir.
Roll call.
We
Here we go.
waive readings. Do we have a second?
Second.
Berger,
Aye.
Canton,
Aye.
Kavanaugh,
Aye.
Galicki,
Aye.
Porter,
Aye.
Bell.
Aye.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Berger,
Aye.
Canton,
Aye.
Kavanaugh,
Aye.
Galicki,
Aye.
Porter,
Aye.
Bell.
Aye.
Okay.
Have we done everything now?
Wait,
I think we have another one.
We have another one here, and
Income
I'm
tax.
trying to figure out why aren't we doing exactly what we just did?
One is amending the expenses, the other one is
okay.
transferring money.
All right, so now we need to introduce and consider for adoption an ordinance transferring $50,000 from the income tax fund to the culvert fund and transferring $127,686 from the income tax fund to the special equipment fund, declaring an emergency and waive further readings. So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Berger,
Aye.
Canton,
Aye.
Kavanaugh,
Aye.
Galicki,
Aye.
Porter,
Aye.
Bell.
Oops, sorry.
Move to adopt.
Hey, you're younger, I'll do that.
To adopt.
Second.
Berger,
Aye.
Canton,
Aye.
Kavanaugh,
Aye.
Galicki,
Aye.
Porter,
Aye.
Bell.
Aye.
Ordinance passed.
Okay.
All right, any other ordinances or resolutions?
Motion to ratify the bills list of January 14th, 2023 in the amount of $70,058.67. So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Do we need a roll call, Chris?
No.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Bills are paid. We are at new other.
Berger,
None.
Canton,
None.
Kavanaugh,
None.
Galicki,
None.
Porter,
Just one thing, are we still looking for a fiscal auditor?
not,
We have not been, and because the most recent candidates that applied for the job, while well qualified, it seemed to be more than we needed. And asking someone to drive from, the candidates were from Brecksville and from the west side and what have you, and asking them to drive here for a couple of hours worth of work seemed not to be a worthwhile endeavor. So we can put that back out to Indeed and see if there are candidates available.
More local.
More local, more looking for a resident. And I think, I'll leave this to the fiscal officer's judgment that the system that we've created is working well.
The auditor was happy with our current system.
And I'll defer again to Councilman Galicki for comment.
I only wanted to say that, the system that we have in place was, the state auditor saw no issue with it. And, potentially if we ever did want the fiscal auditor, it might be redundant in terms of what we have in place right now, so.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
Want to do the
Nothing further.
executive session?
No,
No.
that's all the new other.
All right. Councilman Canton,
Okay.
we'll have him keep doing this, okay?
At this time, I'd like to make a motion to enter into executive session for the purposes of discussing the possible purchase of property and conferring with the solicitor regarding pending or imminent litigation pursuant to sections 121.22G, 2, and 3 of the Ohio Revised Code, and to invite the mayor, fiscal officer, and solicitor,
We want the chief also.
and the chief.
Second.
Berger,
Aye.
Canton,
Aye.
Kavanaugh,
Aye.
Colicki,
Aye.
Porter,
Aye.
Bell.
We're in executive session in about 20 seconds.
You guys ready?